From New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour. US President says US-Japan alliance is stronger than ever as he hosts Japanese Prime Minister Kishida at a state dinner. The two leaders hold bilateral meeting and agree on over 70 agreements strengthening defense ties. Kishida to address US Congress on Thursday. Security in Indo-Pacific and countering Chinese pressure on Philippines in the disputed South China Sea in focus as Biden to host leaders of Japan and Philippines in a trilateral summit. 3 sons of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh killed in Israeli airstrike. Israel says Haniyeh's sons were operatives in Hamas armed wing. US President Biden urges Hamas to accept the latest ceasefire deal. In Champions League, Spanish club Barcelona beat Paris Saint-Germain in the thrilling quarter-final first leg clash. In another match, Atletico Madrid survived late Dortmund pressure to hold on for 2-1 win. And India celebrates Eid-ul-Fitr today, marking the end of the fasting month of Ramadan. India's Prime Minister extends wishes on the occasion. US President Joe Biden and First Lady hosted Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida and his wife for a state dinner at the White House. During a toast at the state dinner, Biden stated that the alliance between the two countries is stronger than ever. Kishida further emphasized Biden's sentiment, asserting that despite the Pacific Ocean between the two nations, the pioneering spirit of those who came before us had united them.
Cheers. United States. We may be divided by distance, but generations after generation, we've been brought together the same hopes, the same values, the same commitment to democracy and freedom, and to dignity for all. And today, without question, our alliance is literally stronger than it has ever been. And the United States are united than ever before. I believe that the Pacific Ocean has brought Japan and the United States together and so close because of the pioneering spirit of those who came before us and frontier spirit that we all have in common.
Kishida will also address the US Congress on Thursday before joining Biden and Philippines President for the Trilateral Summit. Meanwhile, President Biden is hosting the leaders of the Philippines and Japan on Thursday, a day after he held a bilateral summit with the visiting Japanese dignitary. The three countries are expected to talk about economic ties and to lock in defense deals they see as crucial in securing the Indo-Pacific. Caroline Malone gets us more from Washington.
It was clear from Wednesday's White House events between US President Biden and Japanese Prime Minister Kishida that the two are similarly aligned in wanting to forge a positive alliance in the Indo-Pacific to secure a prosperous and safe region. To do that, they've announced key defense deals with the promise of more to come.
Under his leadership, Japan set in motion profound changes in its defense policies and its capabilities. Now our two countries are building a stronger defense partnership and a stronger Indo-Pacific than ever before.
As a global partner, Japan will join hands with our American friends, and together we will lead the way in tackling the challenges of the Indo-Pacific and the world. Looking ahead toward the world will be like 10 years, 100 years and now, while tirelessly developing the relationships between our countries.
And ahead of Thursday's trilateral between the US and Japan and the Philippines, President Marcos said he sees the focus of meetings being on strengthening economic relations, but also on security. That, he said, the main intent of this trilateral is for us to be able to continue to flourish, to be able to help one another, and of course to keep the peace in the South China Sea and the freedom of navigation. The US, Japan and the Philippines, along with Australia, held military drills in the South China Sea over the weekend. Before those exercises, the four countries said they intend to uphold the right to freedom of navigation and respect maritime rights under international law. The implication of all of this is that they want to ward off increasingly assertive actions from China in the South China Sea. Well, President Biden said, alongside Japanese Prime Minister Kishida on Wednesday, that he will be welcoming another friend to the White House on Thursday, a sign of the warmer ties that are strengthening between all three countries. Caroline Malone in Washington for DD India.
On Wednesday, Prime Minister Kishida presented new cherry trees in Washington, D.C.'s Tidal Basin. The new trees will replace the older ones that will be removed for repairs at the site. In total, Japan will donate 250 new cherry trees to mark the U.S.'s 250th birthday in 2026. Japan has given the U.S. some 3,000 cherry trees as part of a symbolic gesture of friendship between the two nations. Shifting focus to Israel-Hamas crisis now, three sons of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh were killed in an Israeli airstrike in Gaza on Wednesday. The Israeli military confirmed carrying out the attack and described the three sons as operatives in the Hamas. Haniyeh is based abroad in Qatar and he is the face of Hamas's international diplomacy. His family home was destroyed in an Israeli airstrike back in November. Also, Hamas said it was studying an Israeli ceasefire proposal and termed it as intransigent, saying it met none of the Palestinian demands. Meanwhile, US President Joe Biden has urged Hamas on Wednesday to accept the latest proposal for a temporary ceasefire in Gaza in exchange for the release of hostages.
We're not going to stop until we do. The new proposal on the table, Bill Burns led the effort for us. We're grateful for his work. There's a now up to Hamas. They need to move on the proposal that's been made. And as I said, we'll get these hostages home where they belong, but also bring back a 6-week ceasefire that we need now. And the fact is that we're getting in somewhere in the last 3 days over 100 trucks. It's not enough, but we need to be more, and there's one more opening that has to take place in the north. So we'll see what he does in terms of meeting the commitments he made to me.
Let's get you an update on the humanitarian aid now. Israel will open a new land crossing into the Gaza Strip, designed mainly to facilitate aid deliveries from overseas or the neighboring Jordan to Palestinians. Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said a new crossing point would be created on the northern part of the Gaza border to reduce the time taken to truck in aid from Ashdod. Israel has gradually reopened two established cargo crossings and created a new crossing on its border. Last week, it also announced to admit Gaza-bound aid shipments at its southern port of Ashdod. Israel has also helped set up a maritime corridor for direct deliveries of aid to Gaza by sea and opened its airspace to foreign planes that have parachuted in aid for Palestinians. Germany's Lufthansa Airlines suspended flights to Tehran because of the situation in the Middle East, as the region is on the alert for possible Iranian retaliation over a suspected Israeli airstrike on Iran's embassy in Syria. An Iranian news agency briefly stoked tensions further when it published an Arabic report on social media platform X saying all airspace over Tehran had been closed for military drills. The agency then removed the report and denied it had issued any such news. Lufthansa said it suspended flights to and from Tehran from April 6th until April 11th. There was no immediate word from the international airlines that fly to Tehran. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said that Israel must be punished for the Damascus strike that killed 7 Iranian Revolutionary Guards Corps members. In an apparent response to Khamenei, Israeli Foreign Minister Israel Katz said on Wednesday that Israel will respond if Iran attacks Israel from its own soil. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has made it clear that the United States would stand with Israel against any threats by Iran. Blinken, in a call with Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, discussed the ongoing efforts to secure the release of all hostages. through an agreement for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Update on the Russia-Ukraine conflict now. Russian airstrikes on Ukraine's northeastern Kharkiv region hit a clinic and a pharmacy on Wednesday. The regional governor, Oleh Senabov, said that the strike killed at least 3 people, a 14-year-old girl and 2 women, and 2 people were injured. The rescuers continued searching through the rubble for victims. Russia denies deliberately targeting the civilians meanwhile. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky expressed his condolences to those killed in the Russian airstrikes.
Today, Russian terrorists again hit our communities with guided bombs, notably in the Kharkiv region. There are casualties with 3 confirmed deaths, including 1 child. My condolences to all who have lost loved ones. This Russian terror, day and night at our border and in frontline areas.
Several dozen Russian recruits held live fire exercises on an undisclosed training ground in the Kyiv region after enlisting in Ukraine's Siberian battalion on Wednesday. Their war-hardened instructors said that they returned from the group's cross-border march raids into Russia's Belgorod and Kursk regions to train the new joinees. Russian officials cast the group as a puppet of Ukraine's military and the US Central Intelligence Agency. Finnish President Alexander Stubb met NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg at NATO's headquarters in Brussels on Wednesday. Both the leaders discussed military aid for Ukraine, particularly the urgent need for air defense. Stoltenberg acknowledged the efforts of NATO allies in providing long-range systems and missiles to Ukraine. He said that delays in delivery of air defenses will allow Russian missiles to hit more targets. Stoltenberg stressed on the importance of reliable and predictable aid for Ukraine.
Today in our meeting we discussed Ukraine and the urgent need for more support and reliable and predictable support for Ukraine. Delays in delivery of air defenses will allow Russian missiles to hit more targets, and delays in delivery of ammunition will allow Russia to press along the front line. Ukraine simply cannot wait. It needs air defenses, ammunition and aid now.
Germany has stated that it is very sensible to invest private capital in Ukraine now to ensure its presence after the end of the war. After a cabinet meeting, German Economic Cooperation and Development Minister Svenja Schulze said that Chancellor Olaf Scholz's cabinet put together key points to attract private money to Ukraine. Scholz added that public money will not be enough and encouraged German businesses to help Ukraine get back on its feet after the war. Currently, there are around 2,000 German companies active in Ukraine. The Swiss government said that it will host a 2-day high-level conference in June aimed at achieving peace in Ukraine. The conference will be held on June 15th and 16th in Bergenstock Resort in the canton of Nidwalden outside the city of Lausanne. It will aim to create a framework favorable to a comprehensive and lasting peace in Ukraine, as well as a concrete roadmap for Russia's participation in the peace process. Although Russia has made it clear that it will not take part in the initiative. You're watching DD India News Hour. Time now for a short break. But after the break, South Korea President Yoon Suk Yeol suffers a major blow as liberal opposition parties score a landslide victory in parliamentary election. Flood swamped swathes of Russia and Kazakhstan, but worse still to come. And we show you the captivating visuals of the eclipse captured by the skydivers while taking the plunge.
Pole Pulse tracks the pulse of the pole-bound southernmost Indian state of Tamil Nadu.
Voting is our responsibility.
This is a big fight between BJP and India alliance.
Will you vote?
Yeah, power of democracy. This is a huge.
BJP is trying her best, for the past 10 years under the flagship of Sri Narendra Modi garu.
The 2024 Lok Sabha polls in Tamil Nadu are witnessing the battle royale between DMK, AIADMK and the BJP.
Welcome back after the break. We're watching DD India News Hour and I'm Preeti. Let's continue getting you more international updates. South Korea's liberal opposition party scored a landslide victory in a parliamentary election held on Wednesday, dealing a resounding blow to President Yoon Suk Yeol and his Conservative Party. The Democratic Party was projected to take more than 170 of the 300 seats in the new legislature, as per the data by the National Election Commission. A splinter Liberal Party considered allied with the Democratic Party was expected to take at least 10 seats, projections showed. All right, Chris Gilbert joins us from Tokyo with more on this. Chris, how big is it a blow to President Yoon Suk Yeol, and what factors have led to this drubbing for Yoon and his party, People's Power Party?
Well, the analysis of what exactly happened and what demographics and what part of the country is going to come in the coming days, but you're quite right that this is a significant setback for the PPP, for Yoon Suk Yeol's party. He is now set to become the first ever South Korean president to do a 5-year term with no control or no party control over the National Assembly at all. And so that effectively, as experts say, makes him a lame duck for the rest of the 3 years of his term. He was, of course, elected into a situation which had an opposition Democratic Party controlled parliament, and now it is the status quo. It looks to have become a stronger hold on the parliament for the Democratic Party. They've increased their seats by 20. There have been other Democrat-aligned parties or opposition bloc parties, such as the Rebuilding Korea Party, which campaigned on punishing and doing away with Yoon Suk Yeol, which have entered parliament for the first time, winning about 12 seats. The opposition bloc did not achieve the 2/3 majority that some might have been forecasting that would have given them the power to veto presidential decisions and even impeach the president. But it is the status quo for now. It's not good news for the president. It's not good news for the ruling party. And already the prime minister and some senior officials inside the ruling party have offered their resignations. So it's a grim outcome for them, but certainly a strong outcome for the opposition.
All right, the opposition along with other smaller opposition parties, the main opposition party along with smaller opposition parties, they have won in the election. What challenges ahead do they see awaiting them?
Yeah, the President Yoon Suk Yeol has already come out and said that he accepts the results of the election, and he is looking ahead. He's saying that he wants to now focus on stabilizing the lives of the people of South Korea and stabilizing the economy. Obviously, this is a terrible situation politically for the PPP. There may have to be some soul searching and some regrouping that they are going to have to do. There also is going to be some analysis of how the constituency and the demographics in South Korea are changing, especially considering that what has traditionally been a very bipartisan country is now becoming less so, with experts saying about 30% of the electorate was undecided or perhaps a newly emerged swing voter going into this election, which, with the analysis in the days and weeks to come may show that is the reason behind some of the strength of the DP's win. But, for Yoon Suk Yeol, the pressure is going to be on maintaining his message for South Korea on the global stage, especially with the relations with Japan, especially relations with the United States, when he doesn't have any control over the parliament. For the parliament, it means they're going to have to focus on their agenda, but they don't have the power to veto Yoon Suk Yeol's veto. So there are some challenges ahead.
All right, Chris, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much for joining us with those details. All right, getting you other news now. Donald Trump's criminal hush money case is set to go to trial on April 15th as a New York judge appeals on Wednesday denied Trump's third last-ditch attempt to delay his hush money trial, paving the way for the first ever trial of a former U.S. president. During an earlier hearing, Trump lawyer Emil Bohr said that the trial should be delayed because Justice Juan Merchan, who is overseeing the case, has not yet ruled on their request for him to recuse himself. The case is one of 4 criminal indictments Trump faces as he prepares to challenge Democratic President Joe Biden in their November 5th U.S. election rematch. He has sought to delay proceedings in all the cases until after the election, and the hush money case is the only one with a firm trial date. It's been 5 years since WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange was forcibly expelled from the Ecuadorian embassy in London into the hands of the waiting British police officers. Since then, he has been fighting extradition to the United States from an English prison on multiple charges of espionage. But his time in the UK could be close to an end, as Stuart Smith reports from London.
After a series of appeal hearings, next week is the deadline for the US Justice Department to assure the High Court in London that Julian Assange will be treated fairly if deported to the US. If it doesn't provide those assurances, he'll be granted an appeal in Britain in May. Assange has been wanted by American authorities since 2019 for allegedly repeatedly violating the US Espionage Act, and he's been held at a British maximum security prison since then. His website, WikiLeaks, hosted tens of thousands of classified documents related to America's military and diplomatic activities worldwide. His supporters say the charges are politically motivated, and his conviction would represent an assault on freedom of speech and freedom of the press. The International Federation of Journalists, as well as press giants in the US, UK, France, Germany and Spain, have called for his release. But the US Justice Department says the publishing of some of those documents endangered the lives of informants. They claim he should not be treated as an ordinary journalist and that WikiLeaks was not an ordinary publisher. At court earlier in the year, they claimed Assange sought to solicit, steal, and indiscriminately publish US government documents, and he should be punished. England's High Court judges found the 52-year-old Australian can be extradited to the US to face justice there, but only if the US government can prove he will be treated fairly. It has until next week to provide those assurances, or he will be entitled to appeal this extradition. The US government must convince the court that he is afforded the same First Amendment protections as a United States citizen, which protects freedom of speech, and that the death penalty will not be imposed. Stuart Smith in London, reporting for DD India.
Floods continue to engulf cities and towns across Russia and Kazakhstan after Europe's third longest river burst its banks. The water level continues to rise in flood zones, while large amount of water is coming to new regions. While Kremlin says the forecast is unfavorable, over 110,000 people have been evacuated so far from the affected regions. Upstream on the Ural, which flows into Kazakhstan, floodwaters burst to an embankment dam in the city of Orsk on Friday. Unusual floods that have gripped cities and towns in both countries can be explained by the heavy accumulation of snow during the winter and the speed at which it melts due to climate change. In the US, severe storms are battering parts of the South with torrential rain and life-threatening flooding. Drone footage showed flooding in Belton, Texas, as storms swept across the state. The National Weather Service issued severe thunderstorm watch, warning Texans of large hail and strong damaging winds. Local police closed multiple roads due to floods. Canada risks another catastrophic wildfire season as it forecast higher than normal spring and summer temperatures across much of the country. Last year, Canada endured its worst ever fire season with more than 6,600 blazes burning 15 million hectares, an area roughly 7 times the annual average. 8 firefighters died and 230,000 people were evacuated from their homes. This winter, the country experienced warmer than normal temperatures and widespread drought, setting the stage for another punishing summer. The European Parliament voted. We'll get you more on that, but the campaigners in the EU are demanding higher taxes on the ultra-wealthy, saying it could raise up to $286 billion for the European Union's most vulnerable. The protesters say that they will land a private jet in front of the European Parliament in protest on Thursday. However, that claim could just be a marketing gimmick for the bigger cause. Ishan Garg gets us more from Brussels.
Campaigners will gather outside the European Parliament building in Brussels demanding a 2 to 5% progressive tax on the ultra-rich. They say it could pay for up to 40% of the EU's post-pandemic recovery fund. Global NGO Oxfam says the EU's 5 richest billionaires have boosted their wealth by 76% since 2020. They claim 99% of the European population has become relatively poorer in the same time period. A study commissioned by the EU's executive arm has found that a progressive wealth tax on the bloc's richest 0.5% could generate more than $200 billion every year. NGOs including Oxfam, Avaz and We Move Europe are organizing Thursday's protest. They claim they will land a jet in Luxembourg Square in the heart of the Belgian capital in the middle of the narrow cobbled streets leading up to the European Parliament building. Now, this stunt, which is unlikely to happen in practice, is supposed to be a commentary on how the ultra-wealthy are hurting the environment by flying in private planes. The campaigners are hoping to raise awareness about climate change and will lobby European lawmakers to bring in laws to tax big individual polluters. Organizers say the ultra-wealthy and their companies paying far too little tax is at the core of many of Europe's problems. During this protest, they will demand more measures to address billionaires allegedly using shell companies to evade taxes. They say urgent action by authorities is required to reduce the wealth gap between the bloc's richest and poorest. Ishan Garg in Brussels, reporting for DD India.
Meanwhile, the European Parliament voted on Wednesday to pass a law to reduce carbon dioxide emissions from the trucks. The move will require most new heavy-duty vehicles sold in the EU from 2040 to be emission-free. The law will enforce a 90% cut in CO2 emissions from new heavy-duty vehicles by 2040. To attempt to pull the transport sector in line with climate change targets, truck manufacturers will also have to reduce the CO2 emissions of their fleets by 45% by 2030 and 65% by 2035. The policy still needs final approval from EU countries, a step that is usually a formality and approves a law with no changes. A quick look at other stories making it to the headlines from across the world now. The Rio de Janeiro government has deployed a multivariate set of measures to halt the spread of dengue as Brazil is fighting a record outbreak that has killed over 1,100 people in 2024. The Secretary of Health has rolled out a strategy to release into the air lab-bred mosquitoes with the Wolbachia bacteria to reduce the transmission of mosquito-borne viral diseases such as dengue. Italian rescue teams continue to search for survivors after at least 3 people were killed in an explosion underground at a hydroelectric power plant in northern Italy. Italian utility group confirmed that the fire had broken out on one of its transformers at its hydropower plant in Borghi, close to Bologna, in early afternoon. The cause of the explosion is still not clear. Skydivers experienced the total solar eclipse on Monday during their fall from an airplane in Texas. The video captured the moment a couple jumped out of the airplane and then floated in the air as the solar eclipse darkened the sky. The eclipse made landfall to the banks of Ohio River and farther north. Spellbound crowds reacted to the sight of totality with jaw-dropping expressions of awe and joy. You're watching DD India News Hour. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to hold election rallies in Uttarakhand's Rishikesh and Rajasthan's Dholpur. Large number of devotees gather to offer prayers to Goddess Durga as India celebrates the 3rd day of Navratri. Guwahati brimming with festive fervour as the state gears up to celebrate Bohag Bihu, the most significant festival of Assam.
As India decides in the world's largest election,
we help you feel the pulse of the nation.
I am Sakal Bhatt.
I am Shubhendu Ghosh.
This election season, join us on a journey of India.
Discover the colors of democracy. Watch Poll Pulse on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Let's get to a quick recap of the top stories once again. US President says US-Japan alliance is stronger than ever as he hosts Japanese Prime Minister Kishida at a state dinner. The two leaders hold bilateral meeting and agree on over 70 agreements strengthening the defense ties. Kishida to address US Congress on Thursday. Security in Indo-Pacific encountering Chinese pressure on the Philippines and the disputed South China Sea in focus as Biden to host leaders of Japan and Philippines in a trilateral summit. 3 sons of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh killed in Israeli airstrike. Israel says Haniyeh's sons were operatives in the Hamas armed wing. US President Biden urges Hamas to accept the latest ceasefire deal. And India celebrates Eid-ul-Fitr today, marking the end of the fasting month of Ramadan. India's Prime Minister extends wishes on the occasion. And now we get to the latest on the world's largest democratic election in India. Election season is at its peak in India, with parties organising multiple public meetings as the first phase of voting is slated for 19th of this month. In order to garner support for the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold election rallies in Uttarakhand's Rishikesh and Rajasthan's Dholpur. With the Lok Sabha elections nearing, political parties are ramping up their efforts to woo the voters, with leaders actively engaging with the public to garner support. Senior BJP leader and Union Minister Amit Shah will hold rallies in Madhya Pradesh's Jabalpur and Khajuraho. Union Minister of Defence Rajnath Singh will visit Madhya Pradesh and will hold public meetings in Rewa and Satna. To garner support in the party's favour, BJP Party President JP Nadda will also address an election rally in Port Blair, Andaman and Nicobar. Also, in an attempt to woo the voters, all political parties are organising rallies across the country. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi will visit Rajasthan today. He will be holding rallies in Bikaner and Jodhpur to garner support for the party candidates. Bikaner will go to polls in the first phase, that is on April 19th, while Jodhpur will witness polling on April 26th. All political parties are holding public rallies and road shows across the country. In West Bengal, the Raiganj Lok Sabha constituency that goes to polls in the second phase on April 26th is all set to witness star campaigners of both the BJP and the TMC. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address an election campaign at Goalpara in Raiganj on April 16th, while West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee will be present at Islampur and Karandigi on April 18th for campaigning. Also, TMC Supremo Mamata Banerjee took part in a roadshow in Raiganj town and also addressed a public meeting in Hemtabad. India's eastern state of West Bengal has 42 lower house seats and is going to polls in all the 7 phases. A politically charged state, West Bengal plays an important role in the elections. Why does the state matter from the east in 2024? Let's take a look at this report.
The eastern Indian state of West Bengal has been a hub of history, culture and education. It was also the epicenter of India's freedom movement. Situated along the Bay of Bengal, the state, which shares its borders with Bangladesh, is spread over 88,000 square kilometers. Its capital, Kolkata, was among India's first metropolitan cities and also served as India's capital till 1931. When the capital was moved to New Delhi. The geographically diverse state houses hill stations like Darjeeling as well as the Sundarbans mangrove forest in Gangetic, which is home to the Royal Bengal tigers. Home to India's Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore and the leader of India's armed freedom struggle, Subhash Chandra Bose. West Bengal is known for its vibrant cultural festivals. In 2023, the Durga Puja of Kolkata was inscribed on UNESCO's list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. In the 2024 general elections, the state, which has 42 parliamentary seats, is going to polls in all the 7 phases. The polling dates are April 19th and 26th, May 7th, 13th, 20th, 25th and June 1st. West Bengal has about 75 million enrolled voters, out of which 38 million are men, 37 million are women. Over 1,800 voters belong to the third gender community. The state is at present being governed by the Trinamool Congress. Other prominent parties in the state are the Bharatiya Janata Party, the Communist Party of India Marxist, and the Indian National Congress. During the 2019 general elections in West Bengal, of the total 42 seats, the TMC won 22 seats, the BJP bagged 18, while the Congress got 2 seats. Observers are keenly monitoring the 2024 polls in West Bengal, especially in politically sensitive constituencies and areas which have a history of poll-related unrests. Anu Kaushik for DD India.
All right, Akshay Dongre joins us with more from Delhi, and Anirbruto joins us from Kolkata. Anirbruto, first coming over to you. We've just shown a detailed report telling our viewers, why does the state of West Bengal matter? Let us understand from you, how are the political temperatures soaring in the state? How is the political contest this time different as compared to the last time?
As you know, the market is going high with the political Bengal. West Bengal is the 70th election that will start from 9th till the end of June. Several political leaders, discussing the state doing the focus line. Only 3 days before Prime Minister came here and Home Minister.
All right, Anirbruto, I'll interrupt you here. Your audio is not clear. From here, we'll go across to Akshay. Akshay, good morning. We were just having a word with Anirbruto, wherein we talked with him about how is the political contest different this time around when we talk of how the permutations and combinations were placed last time. You tell us, you're here in Delhi. How do you gauge the political mood and the electoral aspirations of the political parties?
Well, Preeti, from what we have seen in the past 2 to 3 weeks especially, is that the political parties have intensified their campaigns. However, from what we are seeing on the ground, it has not reached that level yet where the political parties have gone all out as far as the elections are concerned. And it is in fact a surprising thing this time around that the election campaigns have been heated up. However, not so much when we compare it to the earlier election, and there might be a reason for that. The elections are starting on 19th of April and they're going to end in the month of June. So these are probably one of the longest elections ever. The political parties also are trying to conserve their energy, their resources as far as the elections are concerned. Their allegations as far as the opposition is concerned, or the promises in terms of the government. So all the political parties there are in fact trying to conserve energy. The election has been, the campaigning has been picking up. However, it has not gone full throttle yet. What we are seeing right now, however, across the country is the fact that the merchandise, political merchandise, that has gone into full throttle manufacturing, because these manufacturers also know that it is going to be a long election, it is going to be a long campaigning period, and probably they have a good chance of making a good business from that particular aspect as well. However, when we talk about the permutation and combination of the political parties, it's very interesting to see that this time around there is a united opposition. However, what we are seeing in the past couple of months is that there are cracks appearing time and again in this united opposition front. However, they still remain hopeful. The Bharatiya Janata Party appears formidable challenger to any political party that you throw as far as the political contest is concerned. The BJP looking very confident. They had asked for people to give suggestions as far as their manifesto is concerned, which was in fact a good exercise to involve public as well into the manifesto process that other political parties make. Approximately 500,000 suggestions were given by people through the Prime Minister's application, as well as a missed call service that was started by the government. So what we can expect is that the most awaited manifesto, that of the Bharatiya Janata Party, the ruling party of India at this current time, that will be out this week. The Defense Minister Rajnath Singh himself is heading this particular group of the leaders that are trying to form up and cobble up a manifesto. There are reports that say that a draft has already been prepared that will be looked at by the Prime Minister, by other leaders of the Bharatiya Janata Party before it is given to the public. So once the manifesto comes out, Preeti, then the real challenge begins, the real competition begins, because right now we only have the promises of the opposition, for example, the Congress or the Samajwadi Party. But once the BJP comes up with the promises, then we can really see the opposition targeting the promises of the BJP and the BJP questioning the promises that have been made by the opposition party.
So the efforts of the parties will further intensify in the next few days. Anibrato is joining us again. Anibrato, please continue. We were talking about how is the electoral contest poised this time around, and how do you gauge the political temperature soaring in the state?
As you know, Preeti, as you know, as the market is soaring high, so the political heat is in Bengal. Several leaders across the political parties, they are crisscrossing state, trying to win the voters' minds. And you know, the Trinamool Congress, they raised the question of why the 7th-phase election this time in Bengal. Although Bengal witnessed 7th-phase elections beforehand in the last Lok Sabha election, but they are saying it is a discriminatory attitude towards the party. But while all other opposition parties are voicing the same voice, but because of the tradition of violence here in Bengal, the election commission has made the right decision of the 7th-phase election this time. As you know, only in the 19th of this month, the West Bengal will witness the first phase election, that is in the 3 Lok Sabha constituencies, one in Alipurduar, Coach Bihar and Jalpaiguri. All these 3 states were owned by BJP in the last Lok Sabha election. Now it's time to see that which party wins over the other. And as it is widely predicted, and as the exit poll is going around, is saying that the BJP will do much better this time, because only in the last election in 2019, as you find, that BJP won 18 seats and Trinamool Congress 22 seats. But this time it's to be seen whether BJP surpasses Trinamool Congress, because if it happens to take place, because what we have found since 2014, while BJP had only 2 seats, thereafter in 2019, as you know, BJP bagged 18 seats and emerged as a main opposition party in Bengal. So it was a large achievement on the part of BJP. So this time it's to be seen whether BJP surpasses Trinamool Congress, because as the prediction goes all around that this thing is going to happen this time. And as I am saying, that is regarding the political violence, West Bengal is a legacy of the political violence every time, as we find. So this time the election commission has enforced 720 company of the central force. In the first phase election, 260 company of the central force will be deployed. This is, so far is the largest deployment for the 3 Lok Sabha constituencies. Right. Yeah, but as you see that the political parties across, the political leaders across the political parties, they are crisscrossing different parts of the state. And as I've told that the Prime Minister Narendra Modi came 3 days beforehand, held meeting in Jalpaiguri. Thereafter, Amit Shah came yesterday, they held a meeting in Balurghat. And Mamata Banerjee, the Trinamool Congress Supremo and the Chief Minister of West Bengal, she is also crisscrossing different states.
So the parties and the leaders, they are leaving no stone unturned to woo the voters. We leave it here, Anibrato and Akshay. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us this morning on DD India News Hour. And up next, we take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across India. The Central Reserve Police Force of India conducts search operation in India's Pulwama. Now, these operations are usually conducted to ensure the safety of civilians and to prevent any potential security threats. Festival of Eid-ul-Fitr is being celebrated across India with great fervour and gaiety, marking the end of the fasting month of Ramadan. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi extends Eid wishes to mark the occasion. He said on social media platform X that may this occasion further spread the spirit of compassion, togetherness and peace. Eid Mubarak. Also, India celebrates the third day of Navratri today. The temples recited prayers to Goddess Durga, while a large number of devotees gathered to offer prayers and take part in the morning prayer to commence the third day of the 9-day Hindu festival of Navratri. As the country gears up for Rongali Bihu celebrations, the festive ambience fills Guwahati with vibrant arrangements being made to celebrate Assam's most significant festival. Preparations to celebrate the biggest festival of Assam are in full swing. Bohag Bihu is one of the most important festivals in the state of Assam. The festival signifies the onset of agricultural season and is celebrated with great enthusiasm and fervour. A short break ahead on DD India News Hour, but after the break, World Parkinson's Day is being observed today to create awareness about the progressive neurodegenerative disorder. Gold on its way to touch new highs. Stay with us to know all the action from the Indian and US stock markets. And World Athletics ends 128-year Olympic tradition, set to become the first sport to offer prize money to Olympic champions in a landmark decision.
Opposition stuns Erdogan with historic victory in Turkish local poll. Will the defeat force Erdogan to reset his foreign policy? Will artificial intelligence enslave humans? And crypto king Sam Bankman-Fried will grow old in jail. So what lessons should we learn from his conviction? Watch Connecting the Dots to get the full picture every Friday at 8 p.m. IST on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Every year, World Parkinson's Day is observed on April 11th. Tremors and movement difficulties are commonly associated with Parkinson's disease. The disease is a progressive neurodegenerative disorder that mainly targets the nervous system and affects the parts of the body controlled by nerves. Every year, World Parkinson's Day is observed to raise awareness about this disorder. On this day, people get together to explore new research methods by which we can restrict or slow down the progress of this disease. It also creates the opportunity to celebrate the progress that has been made in this field in understanding this disease and its symptoms. Over the last few decades, significant improvement has been made in understanding this disease and the treatment facilities. Updates from the world of business now. First up, about the rising prices of the yellow metal. The price of 24-carat gold went up by ₹10 in early trade on Thursday, with 10 grams of the precious metal trading at 72,110 rupees. The price of silver also went up by 100 rupees, with 1 kilogram of the precious metal selling at 85,600 rupees. Talking of the market action, Asian stocks traded higher on Wednesday. Fitch affirmed China's sovereign rating at A+, even though the outlook was downgraded to negative, and it forecast economic growth this year would be slow. The Nikkei is looking to test 40,000 points again, with the yen's slide seen helping fuel that push. However, further weakness in the Japanese currency could prompt authorities to intervene, especially if the yen breaks 152 per dollar. After inflation data diminished hopes that the Fed would begin cutting interest rates as early as June, U.S. stocks tumbled to a lower close. All the three major U.S. stock indices veered sharply lower at the opening bell. Equity prices were further pressured by benchmark Treasury yields, which breached 4.5% to touch the highest level since November. Financial markets have now priced in a dwindling 16.5% likelihood of a 25 basis point Fed rate cut in June, down from 56% just prior to the report's release. On to sports now. Spanish club Barcelona beat French club Paris Saint-Germain 3-2 on Wednesday in the first leg of the Champions League quarter-final clash. Brazil forward Rafinha scored twice to help Barcelona source a win at Paris Saint-Germain in a lively match. Barca have earned their first win in the knockout stage in 4 years. Paris Saint-Germain forward Kylian Mbappe was nowhere to be found as 5 times European champions Barca managed to neutralize France's captain. The hosts came into the match unbeaten in their last 27 games in all competitions, but were undone by a fired-up Barcelona side looking to return the club to the summit of European football. Meanwhile, Spanish club Atletico Madrid beat German club Borussia Dortmund in another quarter-final first leg in Spain on Wednesday. Atletico Madrid struck twice in a dominant first half but had to survive a late fight back from Borussia Dortmund before earning a 2-1 win. The Spaniards are looking for their first semi-final spot in 7 years. Dortmund struggled to get the ball out of their half, and another defensive error allowed Samuel Lino to double their lead in the 32nd. Lino will, however, miss the return leg next week after being booked. Kobel spectacularly palmed his point-blank effort to stop Lino from scoring. Also, Sebastian Haller cut the deficit 6 minutes later to improve the Germans' odds going into next Tuesday's return leg. On to cricket now. Mumbai Indians will take on Royal Challengers Bengaluru in the 25th match of the IPL. Mumbai, after losing their first 3 matches, had their first win on Sunday, defeating Delhi. For a side which invariably starts IPL with a few losses, Mumbai know their way around these lanes. A contest against a floundering RCB could bring about their second win on the trot and some further boost in confidence. On the other hand, RCB is not having results in their favour. The Faf 2 places led side is coming off 3 straight losses, 2 of which came at their home. Having the best of the batters on their side, the bowling has been the issue for their losses. In the 32 matches played between both the sides, Mumbai has won 18 games, while Bengaluru has won 14. Meanwhile, Gujarat Titans beat Rajasthan Royals on Wednesday with a narrow 3-wicket victory. The win halted Rajasthan's 4-match winning streak and prevented the Titans from suffering a 3rd consecutive defeat. Rajasthan was asked to bat first and posted a commanding total of 196 for 3. Gujarat Titans commenced their chase cautiously, win a run rate lagging behind the required pace. Captain Shubman Gill smashed a resilient half-century before Chahal removed him on 72. However, Gujarat's Rashid Khan and Rahul Tewatia played a stunning inning with Rashid Khan's decisive boundary off the final ball, sealing the last ball thriller. Athletics is set to become the first sport to introduce prize money at the Olympics, with World Athletics saying on Wednesday that it would pay $50,000 to 48 gold medalists in Paris. The move is a symbolic break with the amateur pass of the Olympics in one of the game's most watched events. In the modern Olympics, which started in 1896 in Athens, athletes have not received prize money from the International Olympic Committee. The prize money will come out of the share of Olympic revenue that the IOC distributes to World Athletics. A total of $540 million was allocated to the 28 sports at the Tokyo Games, with World Athletics receiving the most at $40 million. The night sky erupted in a kaleidoscope of colors, with dazzling fireworks painting vibrant streaks across the canvas. The Eid-ul-Fitr celebrations in Dubai served as a testament to the city's vibrant spirit and cultural diversity. The dazzling fireworks display capped off the joyous occasion, creating memories that will linger long after the final spark fades away. All right, with those beautiful visuals, we end this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and also Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.